Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, please welcome at this time your hosts, Graham GSM Matthews and RJ Marceau. You're listening to the next era of wrestling radio. This is WrestleRant Radio.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WrestleRant Radio for Royal Rumble weekend here in Indianapolis. Graham GSM Matthews here, January 30th, 2015. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, if the audio is coming through. As always, being joined by the one, the only, the illustrious Mr. Marceau, on site in Massachusetts. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing all right. So I have a lot of different setups here. I don't have my mic with me because that probably would have gotten broken in the fucking luggage. So I'm trying different audio equipment. I've got you on the laptop. I think it should work this time. I'm going off of fucking hotel Wi-Fi. I just flew in an hour ago, finished the town, which we were talking about, and I'm sitting here now talking Royal Rumble with you. You excited for this weekend or what?
You asked me something?
Yeah, I said, are you excited for this weekend or what?
I am. I was just checking because through my phone you sound terrible, but I was just making sure you sounded fine on YouTube, which you do. So
Okay.
That's why.
I think it's coming through my laptop.
Yeah, like you said, I don't know. It sounded weird first, but when I looked on the stream, everything sounds good. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for tomorrow night. I'm actually excited, or I guess it's Saturday night, but I'm excited for the early start time. If you want me to be honest.
Yeah, listen, it's 6 p.m. That's a nice quick start time. Should be over. I say around 9, but it's probably going to be closer to a 4-hour runtime, I would imagine, just between the two Rumbles. They have a 4-match card. Should be done close to 9:30. I think that's a pretty short and sweet runtime. Get in, get out. But with 4 matches, we'll get into it a little bit later on. But before we get into any of that, of course, new episodes every single Thursday, WrestleRant.com, WrestleRantRadio.com. Always trying to work on the audio quality. Right now, it's not great on Mr. Marceau's end as far as being able to hear me, but I'm still trying to figure that shit out. But this is not the normal setup. Just currently at the moment, I'm in the fucking hotel and I'm trying to see if this works or not. But thank you to Rusty Rages in the chat for joining us. Nathaniel as well. I'll get to your comments in a moment, asking about The Rock. Said he can't hear me. And how do I feel if The Rock won the Royal Rumble? Well, we'll get into that momentarily. I'll ask Mr. Marceau about that as well. But as I put in the headline for the episode, do you want to talk about this first, Mr. Marceau? The news broke just earlier today, or actually late last night, whatever it was. I guess the news broke at a WWE employee meeting at WWE headquarters. Triple H is to headline the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2025. Kind of a bit of a surprising pick. I can't imagine many people were expecting the current COO to be headlining this year's class, but here we are. He wasn't the one that made the call, apparently. It was Stephanie and Sean and Taker who all surprised him with the announcement yesterday at HQ. But I was a bit surprised that they're putting him in now as a solo, although he is deserving. I just thought they might go with Batista if he was free, or really almost anyone else, even a John Cena who's retiring this year. But thoughts on the news on Triple H headlining this year's Hall of Fame class for WWE?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate. I mean, now that he's running the company, I think if you're going to get it, you might as well just get in now and not delay the inevitable, or maybe get to the point that he's like, oh, like kind of like Vince, like I don't want to be inducted, and kind of you should just do it now. And I think he's a good headliner. Like you said with Cena, maybe after this year you can induct him next year because this is technically his last year of competition. So going to next year, he can be like the headliner going to New Orleans, and he can reminisce on how he beat Bray Wyatt there 12 years ago. But yeah, I think Triple H is a good headliner. I think it's a good start. Very early announcement. I mean, we're not even February yet. They're making Hall of Fame announcements. So I think that's a good start. Usually it's like last minute they're rushing. So hopefully that's a new technique they take for years coming up, that they kind of highlight those people and give them appropriate time. So, but I think Triple H is a good first name and a good headliner for this year's class.
So what's funny about that is that they actually used to announce inductees, as far at least as when I first started watching in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. I know they used to induct or rather announce the headliners in early January just because tickets would go on sale and they wanted people to buy tickets. Like when Shawn was inducted, I think in 2011, he came out on Raw and was announced as the headliner, I think in January, and they had done that for a couple of years. They moved away from that, like you mentioned. It's been very last minute in recent years. I remember there was like no fucking Hall of Fame class for 2023 until like mid-March. They announced Rey Mysterio. I'm like, well, it took them long enough. And then they kind of busted out all the announcements like almost every day for like 2 weeks straight. And thankfully, they're starting earlier this year, which is nice. Obviously, a very worthy inductee, WWE Hall of Famer. He is already as part of D-Generation X, but he's going in on his own now. So yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I tweeted this out yesterday, but the timing is not suspect. I had used that word originally, but I take that back. Questionable might be a better term. Now, I don't fall into this category of people that are bothered by it, but I do have to acknowledge this, though. There's a lot of people that see Triple H being featured on these shows, not in like a significant storyline or taking up a lot of television time, but being on the shows quite a bit when it comes to opening shows and cameos and video packages and stuff like that, and thinking that it's very self-serving is probably the best way to put it. Like I said, I don't really give a shit myself. I don't think this was his call to put himself in. I think that would be a bit too on the nose. But yeah, do you feel that way about Triple H's overexposure, I guess, so to speak, on WWE television, or do you fall in the camp that doesn't really give a shit?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the camp. I just don't care. To me, he's kind of like Dana White at this point. Like, he's kind of the face. He's the booker. He's the promoter. Like, we know that. So, like, he's the face front person that we're going to get. He's in the press conferences. Like you said, he's opening the show when they go on the Netflix, and he's kind of doing, like, he's the face. He's like the public face of the company at this point from a business side. So, like I said, kind of like Dana White, like, he's kind of all over the place in that aspect for UFC. I kind of see Triple H in the same light.
What do you think inducts him? I think Stephanie and Shawn Michaels have got to be the top two picks.
I would say probably. I would probably say Stephanie. Yeah, I mean Stephanie or Shawn. Probably Shawn. I don't know if I'd love Stephanie introducing him, but I'll go with Shawn.
I mean, he's probably going to pick his wife, I would have to think, but I mean, it is worth noting that Shawn did choose. I don't know how that works. I'm pretty sure they choose people, and then they go with whoever they choose, unless your name is fucking Jerry Lawler. They had gone with someone completely different. They went with William Shatner, actually, back in 2007, but Lawler wanted someone else, and they said no, because he wasn't like a known name in Vince's mind. But anyway, I think Shawn had selected Triple H. It would only be fitting if he selected Shawn Michaels, but if he wants his wife to do it, that's totally fine as well. We'll find out over WrestleMania weekend. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we were making our 2025 predictions, but who else could you see filling out the class for 2025 in WWE as far as women, tag teams, celebrities, stuff like that?
I love how you just put me on the spot of just ripping off random teams. It's a great question. I'm trying to think of like women. I'm trying to think women specifically that aren't in yet, and I mean, I feel like someone like Victoria. I'm kind of surprised she's not in yet.
That's a good one, yeah.
I mean, I think she's good. Like Jacqueline. Jacqueline's in? Is she not in?
Yeah, I think she went in when we were in school.
Recently, yeah. I feel like she went in last year, the year before. But I mean, trying to think of older women. Like I said, Victoria is one that just comes to mind. I know for a fact she's definitely not in.
Yeah.
Tag teams. I mean, like you said, it really depends on who they're trying to get, like WWE tag teams or tag teams in the wrestling business overall. So, yeah. I mean, Victoria pops out to me. I mean,
they never did induct Bam Bam Bigelow. He's another one.
Yeah, he's not in.
Demolition's another team too. They're not in either.
Demolition, like I said, Batista eventually.
Yeah.
John Cena. I'm trying to think of other people like long ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like
RVD. Is RVD in?
Yes, he went in during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. See, now I'm thinking of other people. Like you said, Demolition's not in. I mean, the Midnight Express would be great. They're not in the WWE Hall of Fame, and they never worked for the WWE, but that doesn't always matter.
I'm surprised Cornette's not in there as a manager.
Yeah, I mean, not yet at least. So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. It's a great question, though.
Yeah.
Who do you think? I'll ask you. You have like a savant mind, so who do you think?
No, Victoria's a great pick. And if they want to go with someone more recent, like they'll randomly throw in a fucking like Kelly, for example. Like the Bella Twins went in a couple years ago, and I can understand their contributions. We'll talk a little bit about Nikki Bella and the news surrounding her a little bit later on. But everyone that you mentioned, I love the Midnight Express pick. You mentioned Bray Wyatt earlier when you were talking about John Cena, and if they are in New Orleans next year, which I would. It will be. I know they were there in 2014, which you went to. I know they were there in 2018, but it's a great fucking city for a WrestleMania. By that point, it would have been 8 years, I think, of a difference, whereas last time it was 4. So it's twice the amount of time. They could totally put Mania in New Orleans next year. But I mentioned that because I think Bray could go in. You could put in Bray this year. I was surprised they didn't do it last year. And it's not like they're capitalizing on his death. It's more a matter of when than if. I could see Bray Wyatt going in as the posthumous inductee in New Orleans. I feel like that would make sense, but that wouldn't be this year. So I'd really have to think about it. There's definitely a lot of people that Vince would have never inducted that aren't in, like a Rick Martel. He's not in the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to think of like a lot of legends. I feel like they got a lot of the older generation to my knowledge, but is there any other names that come to mind?
I'm striking out on my end, honestly. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like Attitude Era people. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like the problem is a lot of even like the guys that are like Ruthless Aggression are like they're still wrestling. Is JBL in? He probably is.
Yeah, JBL's in. Yeah.
See, like I'm trying to think of other people, but like it's like Orton who's still wrestling, Cena still wrestling. I mean, I guess they inducted Rey Mysterio, but like,
yeah,
it's so hard to think.
Big Show would go in, but he's in AEW right now.
Yeah, just put Paul White in. Might as well.
Captain Insano himself. Hey, I could see it. Before I get your thoughts on Saturday night's main event from last weekend and that ending that I know you despise, just want to run down a couple comments. Thank you to everyone joining in or has joined or sent in a comment. We appreciate it. Like I said earlier, Nathaniel said, what if The Rock showed up in number 31? What if The Rock won the Royal Rumble, Mr. Marceau? We'll talk about Rumble predictions later on, but what's your knee-jerk reaction to that?
I'd heave myself into oncoming traffic, probably.
Number 31, Corporate Rock, coming out, throwing out John Cena or whoever the fuck it might be. I don't think it would be Roman Reigns, but CM Punk, hey, Corporate Rock strikes again, even in 2025. I could see it happening.
You think I was mad on Saturday night? I'd be even more pissed.
Richie said AJ Lee Prayer Circle. I completely agree. We'll talk about Rumble returns later on, who we could see, who we may not see. I was fully in the camp last year that she would come back because Punk came back in the ring that same night on TV, and it didn't happen. But I think it will happen at some point. I just don't know if it's this weekend. He also said Triple H deserves his flowers. Happy for him. Millennial Noob joining us said, hello, Graham. How you doing? Doing well. Thank you for chatting in. Richie also said thoughts on, I got to get your thoughts on this. So Richie asked, thoughts on Mandy Rose accusing Tiffany Stratton of using her quote-unquote slogan. I think she should go touch grass. So you've seen this thing, right? I saw this clip surfacing on Twitter. Have you seen it?
I have not, no.
No, okay. So Tiffany said in a promo a couple of weeks ago, she said, oh my God, now it's going to bother me. Hold on, I got to look it up. Tiffany Stratton. It was like a very basic, like fucking catchphrase. Oh, no, she said, don't use my words, is what she said to Tiffany. But what was the catchphrase that she said that she stole? Let's see. To be honest, I wasn't even watching. Oh, put some respect on my name. Tiffany said that in a promo on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago. Mandy Rose, I guess, saw that and thought that she was stealing from her. I guess. I remember Mandy Rose saying that in a few promos. I can't say that I remember that she used to say that all the time. I honestly have no recollection of that at all, honestly. But yeah, I guess Mandy Rose got pissed about it.
Isn't that just like a common phrase? Like
that's what I thought.
I thought you were gonna say like toodles or something like that. But like, I mean, put some respect on my name. That's like, I mean, that's just like a common. That's like a common thing. I mean, you see that in any kind of form of entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that was Mandy Rose's catchphrase. I guess I must have missed those lines. I mean,
yeah, that catchphrase must have been on a T-shirt or something.
Can't be stealing her lines. I guess like I said it. I thought put some respect. I thought that was, like I said, I thought that was just like a common thing that some people said, but I guess not.
I by the way, I was today years old when I realized that she had a podcast with her husband, Tino Sabatelli, your favorite. Money Talks.
I thought it's like alpha people or some kind of corny, like we're in shape name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like it's just trying to grab for some attention because, like I said, that's a common phrase that people say.
I feel like she might have just been trying to get some headlines there, someone to listen to her podcast. I'm not exactly sure, but she did say that. You know what she should be more bothered about? The fact that they're calling a group an NXT Fatal Attraction, or Fatal Influence, I'm sorry, which is essentially Toxic Attraction 2.0, right down to Juicy Jane being a part of it. Maybe she should be more pissed about that shit than the fact that Tiffany Stratton used a regular expression that I could hear any day of the week used by anyone.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's like you said. I think it's more for clicks. I mean, she's complaining about Fatal Influence. I mean, that's like I don't know. It's like a professional player complaining about something happening in the minor leagues. I mean, I think the Stratton one's like you said. It's at least it's like trying to get some attention, but at least there's some weight to it. If complaining about that, I don't think anyone would really care. So I mean, it was her decision to leave. So I mean, it's what it is, right?
Yeah, no, it is what it is. And I'm sure at some point we will see her back. Honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. I think the ball's completely in her court. I think she wants to do whatever she's doing now for as long as she can. Honestly, hey, smart woman, make her money. And then I'm sure she'll be back at some point down the road if she still wants to do it. Richie also said on that Mandy Rose better pay Birdman royalties because that man made that phrase a meme back in 2016. I did. I was not aware of that. I knew that phrase was a regular phrase. I didn't know that was a Mandy Rose exclusive, but I guess it was. Nathaniel also said earlier, he said, I hope Soraya Page returns to WWE someday. It won't be anytime soon. She's still under AEW contract, and she re-signed a couple months ago, but maybe at some point down the road. Richie said Doink the Clown for Hall of Fame. I could have sworn Doink the Clown was already in the Hall of Fame. I know Matt Bourne died. And they had the Brooklyn Brawler do it a couple years ago. Maybe he's not. I guess he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I could totally see them inducting Doink for being a memorable character alone.
Is it going to be which version of Doink we getting there? Are we getting the Matt Bourne version? Or?
I would say Matt Bourne, probably.
Okay. I mean, I guess. I mean,
that's
a decent one. I think that's a decent one. Like, it's not a horrible one.
Especially when he was a heel. I feel like that would make the most sense. He also asked, do you think The Rock would beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania if the match happens? I would fucking hope not, and I don't think so, but I mean, stranger things have happened, right? Rock beating Cody. I mean, you said you would heave yourself off the fucking balcony if you won on Friday or won on Saturday. Imagine if you actually beat Cody for the belt at WrestleMania 41. How dumb would that be?
I'd run the bed so fast you couldn't even call my name.
Back on the Mandy thing, Richie had said Mandy Rose, although her situation for getting fired was questionable, seems a bit bitter. Or like you said, is just trying to get clout for her podcast. Yeah, that's I don't know. Kind of seems like what it is to me because otherwise, why would does Tiffany even? I mean, actually, they were there in NXT at the same time, Tiffany and Mandy Rose, so she definitely knows who she is. It's still a pretty stupid thing to say. Millennial Noob said, what are your thoughts on the Asuka situation this week? It all started with the fan begging Asuka to win a match at WrestleMania, and now everyone is worrying about her safety. Yeah, because I think people were sending her love letters, or not death threats, but they were stalking her or some shit. It was fucking weird. So she could be back this weekend. Asuka's another name to look out for. And John Rutland said, Alexis joining in the chat. She said hi, so hi to Alexis. And John also said, I think AJ Lee had a neck issue, which is why she hasn't been wrestling outside of doing stunt work for that heel show. Yes, she did have a neck issue, but she has clarified in other interviews that if she wanted to come back for a Rumble return, she could. Not for a Rumble return, but I think Izzy, the Bailey superfan from back in the day, she did an interview with her years ago, and she asked her if, could you take a bump if you wanted to? And she said, yes, I could. I don't think she would come back for a full-on run, but AJ Lee's a name to look out for. Would you be excited to see her this weekend?
Yeah, I think people would pop, and I think I'd be pretty excited. I think, like you said, even a Hall of Fame induction, I feel like she kind of fits the bill for the women to kind of get someone in. So, I mean, a Rumble appearance, a Hall of Fame, either or works for me.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. I was talking to someone else about this the other day. Do you feel like the AJ Lee return, if and when it happens, whether it be this weekend or another time, do you feel like that's the holy grail for women's returns in WWE at this point? Just because everyone else has come back. It's like the equivalent of CM Punk. Like, she still has a rabid fan base even a decade later after retiring 10 years ago. How fucking old are we? That's crazy. But she has yet to come back. She has yet to wrestle for another promotion or anything like that. I mean, at least Punk did that. AJ Lee never did. So do you feel like AJ Lee is the last like big return they can pull off for the women? Because there's no other names that come to my mind aside from like maybe Sable or something, but I don't think people would really give a fuck if Sable ever came back at this point. I feel like that window closed. But even she came back in the 2000s. So is AJ Lee that name, the biggest name that is yet to come back for the females for WWE?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm trying to think. I don't really know. I mean, Eve Torres would be pretty big too. I mean, besides her and AJ, I don't really think of anyone else that would pretty big. I mean, a lot of the Ruthless Aggression women would just kind of flash in the pans, and besides like Trish and Lita, and I mean, they were kind of whatever. I mean, Melina, I feel like would kind of be up there too. I'm trying to think out loud. I know Maurice. I mean, The Miz, so she's been around, but
yeah.
I would say AJ, Eve Torres, or Melina would be my three. I would say. I know Melina did come back for a Rumble.
Yeah,
I think a couple of years ago, but yeah, I would say those three just came to my top of my mind.
Remember Melina was in the Rumble for like 10 seconds. She botched her spot, and then she wasn't like that was it. She never came back after that.
And then Sasha Banks did it, and all the marks went crazy.
And then before she got chucked out in 10 seconds, not 10 seconds, but she got thrown out within 10 minutes by Zelina Vega. You remember that? Can you hear me, Mr. Marceau? Oh, I may have lost you. Give me a second. Hold on, I may have lost you. Eva Marie Prayer Circle. That's fucking ridiculous. Fuck. Oh, wait, hold on. Mr. Marceau, he says he can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you now. It's just on my end. Sometimes my fucking Bluetooth dies. I love that you put that in the chat because that's how I know you can hear me.
There you go.
Sorry, but what did I ask you? Yeah, no.
I said Eve Torres.
Yeah.
I said Eve Torres, Melina, or AJ would be the top three, and then I said I remember AJ was in, or Melina was in one, got tossed out. Sasha hit the fucking split, and then got tossed by Zelina Vega.
Yes, yeah. And then, sure enough, she quit 4 months after that. She walked out, and we haven't seen her since. Now she's wrestling Yuka Sakazaki. I can't pronounce her name properly. I apologize. She's defending her championship against Yuka in the main event of Dynamite in front of, let me check my notes, 300 people. So, she's still doing good work. I kid. I don't want the Sasha Banks fans to come after me. Yes, AJ did wrestle for the DWL on heels. I remember that, Richie. John Relland says, I think AJ Lee would need to return this. Not to be ageist, but she's not getting any younger. Yeah, I mean, she's not like 50, though. She's 30, I think. I mean, very young. I don't think it would have to be this year.
37. Holy shit.
37?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Man, that's nuts. I knew she was young when she first came in. Holy shit. I mean, she could still come back in a couple of years, but I mean, yeah, she is getting older, obviously. Just for a one-off. What would be this is a random thought that I had the other day. What would be your, I don't know, anticipation level, interest level in seeing Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins versus Punk and AJ Lee at WrestleMania? Because that way Becky's still in a top match at Mania. AJ Lee comes back for a match. You're continuing the Punk and Rollins feud. And most importantly, it gets us away from Rhea and Becky one-on-one at WrestleMania again.
I mean, I don't think we're getting Rhea and Becky, so I'd be against that.
Wow, so you're still on that train that we are definitely getting Becky and Lyra.
I don't think it might not be that. I just don't think it's going to be Rhea and Becky.
Wow. Okay, so what is your prediction for Becky Lynch at WrestleMania then?
I mean, I think if I'm thinking about it now, I think it's going to be her and Lyra. I don't think it's going to be her and Rhea. So, I mean, she would have to be doing something. Mm-hmm. I just don't think they'd be doing Seth and her versus AJ and Punk. I feel like Punk and Rollins just be a one-on-one match. They're going to do that. If
they do it, obviously there's a chance that they might not. They could very well just move on and do something else, obviously, with both guys. Richie said, I'll take the heat from the Sasha fan. She can stay over there. Yeah, Richie's not a Sasha fan at all either. Alexa said she put us up on the big TV. Well, that's appreciated. John said the promos for Becky and Seth versus AJ and Punk would be great, but the match itself would be at best decent. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like the build would be great, but I'm always hesitant about like mixed tag team matches at Mania. I know they did one with Ronda and Triple H, or Ronda and or Kurt. That's who it was. Ronda and Kurt versus Triple H and Stephanie, and that was a great match. The build wasn't great, but the match was great. We also got Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice, and we know what happened from there. So I'm not too high on the idea. I'm not too high on the idea of doing. I think I would like to see the match, but I don't know if it's exactly that's a backlash match. Let's put it that way. That's more of a backlash match. Nathaniel asked, "How about Liv versus Becky at WrestleMania, Mr. Marceau? What are your thoughts on that?"
Just for bragging rights here?
I guess. Liv did have her last match and Liv won, so that's something, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one thing. It's like if Becky's doing that, then what do you do with Liv? They're kind of getting to the point now. They do have a ton of women that like are higher up the card, so you kind of need to figure something out to do with them. I don't hate the idea. I think Lyra and Becky would be my preference, but maybe do a triple threat. I don't know. You can't get everyone on the card, so I'd probably just do Becky and Liv and Lyra one-on-one. But like I said, they have so many good women. It's tough to keep some of them off the card here.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's going to be tough because it's not like we're getting the women's WrestleMania Battle Royal anymore. So some people are going to have to be left off the show. But to be fair, we just saw Liv and Raquel knock off the women's tag team champions Bianca and Naomi on Raw this week. There was also I'm all over the place here, but I do want to mention this before I forget. There was the report that they might be in line for a tag team title run. I could see them being the ones to take the belts from Bianca and Naomi, and that's how you get Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania. Who they face, I have no fucking clue whatsoever. But, I wouldn't be opposed to that. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's a different direction. Like you say, at least get them on the card. It just really depends on what you're doing. Like you said, I guess it all depends on what you're doing with Bianca. I feel like Bianca's the biggest star out of all of them, so you kind of have to prioritize her first.
Yeah.
So it depends on what direction you go on with Bianca, but if moving away from the titles, I think Liv and Raquel maybe can. I don't know. I just haven't really loved Raquel's run so far as like the bodyguard. I feel like I thought turning heel would help her, and I feel like it hasn't at all. But maybe a tag title run with Liv can help. But I'm not holding my breath on that.
Yeah, it's not exactly been great. I will say it's been better than Camille for Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. That was a fucking dumpster fire. It was so bad that Camille's not even on the show anymore. I don't know if she actually got hurt or what the fuck happened there, but they were basically playing the same role. And the whole point of having like a heater or a bodyguard or a heavy or whatever you want to call it is for that person to, get heat on that person and to be the bodyguard for whoever they're managing. And that hasn't exactly happened with Raquel or even Camille in AEW because they just constantly get their fucking ass kicked. So, it's not exactly a role that she's excelled in. I think I liked it more in theory than so far in execution, but maybe the tag team stuff can get them back on track. I'm not sure. Justin said, great show, guys. I appreciate that. Daniel said, what up, Graham? Just got to Indy last night. Headed to meet Big Jim Uso. LOL. Yeah, that's cool. I think it's Jimmy Uso, not Jey Uso. Interesting. Tell him no yeet. That's probably today. I saw people doing the LA Knight meet and greet. They have like everyone available for me, which is cool. Probably going to cost you.
Make sure he gets a safe ride home.
You're talking about Jimmy?
Big Jim, that is.
Listen, Naomi works there now. She can drive him back.
Yeah. Naomi's
the designated driver, and Solo's there too. I know it's not kayfabe for him to be driving with Solo, but Solo can, I think he'll be okay as long as he's not driving by himself. What do you think? Jeff Hardy's going to be the driver?
I hope not.
If he shows up to the Rumble tomorrow, he's going to have Matt drive. I kid. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It's cool that you got to meet Jimmy Uso, though. If you're going to the show on Saturday, let me know. When does Liv turn on Dom? Do you think that's imminent? I feel like they're just spinning their wheels with that. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. What about you?
I would say no time soon. I feel like they don't really know what they're going to do with Dom. And that's kind of like you said, they're spinning their wheels at this point. So I don't know. I feel like you're going to hold off a little bit, but what's the point of turning? I guess there's like no real point to turn on him right now. So I would flush it out a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, they just joined like 5-6 months ago, and people still really like it. I don't know where it's going, but yeah, I would probably get rid of the Judgment Day as a whole and just have them be like, I've seen people call them La Familia 2.0, 3.0, that group that Edge and fucking Vicky had, back in the day. They could just, reuse that with Dom and Liv and Raquel. Daniel said he's going to SmackDown and the Rumble. That's cool, yeah, because SmackDown, like we talked about earlier, is in the same city. It's obviously here in Indianapolis tomorrow night, so I say that'll be fun. It will be a fun time live, especially if we don't go often, but the 3-hour show, it's going to be a fucking chore to sit through that thing, so hopefully it's a good show tomorrow night. But before we get to the Rumble predictions, Mr. Marceau, do you want to get your quick thoughts on Saturday night main event from last Saturday? Not exactly an overly eventful show. I think I was spot on with my predictions. I think I picked Rhea, I picked Breaker and Gunther, because a lot of people figured we got to get at least one title change, right? And I'm thinking, I would hope, but we obviously we fucking didn't. Actually, I was wrong. I picked Jacob Fatu to beat Braun, and I even said when we spoke last week, they could do a non-finish, but that'd be stupid. And it was pretty fucking dumb. The way they executed it was dumb, but the aftermath of the angle was great. That ended up being a lot of fun. The contract signing was what it was. They never announced what the addendum was, which is fucking stupid. I don't know how you just completely move on from that. But I thought the overall show was good. I enjoyed it, but they got to do a better job of not making these shows feel like glorified house shows. And I know you are not happy about Jey Uso again failing to win the World Heavyweight Championship. So give me your 2 cents, Mr. Marceau. What are your thoughts, or what were your thoughts on last week's Saturday night's main event?
I think overall it was a solid show. I think the matches itself were pretty good. We've kind of touched on a point. I do feel like you need to start having title changes or something like must-see into the shows because, like you said, they're basically glorified house shows at this point. Like, the heels aren't cheating. They're just beating people clean. And I don't know. The way the show is formatted as well, like, it's hard to get, like, really into it because I feel there's so many commercials.
Yeah.
And they have so many matches, or more matches than they do on a normal Raw, I feel like. So I feel like they're just going to kind of figure out the formatting and make it more must-see. So I guess we'll see there. I thought Braun Breaker would win. He did win. The Jacob Fatu thing, I mean, I think he should have just beat Braun, like, straight up and then beat the shit out of him. I don't know why we had to go straight to the DQ there, but I think the aftermath was done right. Contract signing was what it was. Nia faced Rhea. Okay, she beat Rhea, or Rhea beat her, or whatever. And then the main event, I mean, not that I thought Jey was definitely going to win. The way they set it up, he basically hit him everything beside the bazooka. And then Gunther got up, powerbombed them twice, and then pinned them 1, 2, 3, and they're off the air. Like, I don't know if they're running late on time or what, but, like, the ending was just it was honestly one of the worst finishes I've ever seen. Like, Jey literally hit him with every maneuver he could possibly hit him with. Kicks out, gets up, 2 power bombs, we go home, and then off the air. It was just, I don't know, it just wasn't done good, and it left with a sour taste in my mouth.
You were the first person I thought of when they did that finish. Listen, I liked the match. I thought it was a good match. There is no way that finish was not rushed. There was no fucking way that was the planned finish as far as them going to it immediately. Jey literally hit him with 2 or 3 different splashes, ran at him for another spear. Gunther catches him with like half a power bomb, does another one, and then the show's over. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't think Jey would win, but that did surprise me. I don't know. It was just a very abrupt finish. So, I mean, again, we'll talk about the Royal Rumble momentarily, but what do you think they do with Jey? Like, I'm not really sure what his road to WrestleMania looks like. They're really, really, playing up the fact that he's never beaten Gunther before. He's never won whenever it matters most. He's never won the World Championship. He's got to be considered a credible contender I know you're going to laugh, but I think he could be considered a credible contender to win the Rumble on Saturday. He's not my pick, but I think he could be an underdog or a dark horse, rather, to win the whole thing. I am not losing faith just yet. I know you're a bigger Jey Uso fan than I am, but I still think there's a chance there could be a scenario at some point this year specifically where he does win the big one, whether it be this weekend or later on in the year, which is what I would prefer. Where do we go with Jey Uso from here following his latest loss to Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, without winning here and going into Mania, I mean, it does seem like he has a pretty cloudy future unless, like you said, he's going for a main title. I wouldn't really want to see him and Braun again. I know he beat Braun I think he beat Braun Breaker for the title originally, and then he lost the belt back to Braun. So, but
Yeah.
I don't think I really want to see that again. And you kind of highlighted there, they've kind of been nailing it against your head that, like, he can't win the big one. Like, he wants to, but he can't. And they keep bringing it up. And it's like, kind of like you said, makes him kind of a dark horse to win the Rumble, because I feel like they're just slapping you in the face. Like, this guy's a loser and he can't win, but, like, he's trying really hard. And, like, he's kind of saying the same thing. They keep finding all these celebrities for him to come out for. Like, he's clearly extremely over. He's moving a ton of merch. And I don't know. I feel like they keep telling you he's going to win the big one or needs to win the big one. So I feel like it's in our head. So I don't know. I myself am not picking him as well. But like you said, I guess he could be a dark horse or kind of be one of those guys that has like a shine spot in the Rumble and kind of maybe gets close, and maybe whoever throws him out is kind of the direction we're going in for Mania. But besides that, it's a pretty cloudy future, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, we've been saying this for a while. Like, what's next for Jey Uso? What championship does he go for next? At least he did win the Intercontinental Championship, to be fair. But at some point, he has to win a World Championship. I mean, the guy's so fucking over. He was out there smoking a blunt with Travis Scott. Who was he out there with on Monday? You mentioned celebrities, but who was it specifically? Do you remember?
He was with Quavo from Migos.
Oh, right.
Another rapper.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, they give him all these celebrity spots because he's super fucking over. People love Jey Uso, so at some point, it's got to lead to something. You can't have this guy never win. I mean, at some point, people will lose faith. I'm not at that point yet. But if you have match finishes like that, people they might lose faith on the quicker side if you keep doing shit like that. John had said Liv turns on Dom at Mania, and if and only if Liv and Raquel don't win the tag titles at Mania, if they do that. Yeah, I mean, Liv turning on Dom. Yeah, I mean wouldn't that make Liv a babyface? I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure if that would turn anyone babyface. I think they're all kind of great currently as heels, so I don't know if I would do that, but that's possible. Richie mentioned if he thinks they might run into his wife this weekend because they have run into her a couple of times. I saw her at Mania last year. That'd be cool. I'll definitely keep an eye out. I feel like I run into her at the most random time, so it's definitely possible. Small world indeed. Nathaniel, kind of on that note of Braun Breaker, Mr. Marceau, he said, who beats Braun for the championship? I thought it would be Sheamus at WrestleMania, but now I don't know. Honestly, if Bronson Reed wasn't hurt, I would have said Bronson Reed, but he's hurt, so it's not going to happen. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. Does any name come to mind for you for Braun Breaker, who he loses that title to at WrestleMania or sooner or after or whatever?
No one really jumps out. Like I said, I feel like the two people that we're talking about have lost him multiple times to this point. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like even with Jey, it's like if you're going to plan was to have him at Mania face the title, like why was he had the belt for like a hot second if you're just going to go for the belt again? So I don't know. I think you did highlight. I think it probably would have been Bronson Reed if he was still around, but obviously he's injured. But I don't know. Like I said, even with Sheamus, like he lost again, similar with Jey. I mean, I don't know.
Sheamus has been unsuccessful 3 times. I mean, I said this last week. They're doing the match on Saturday because I do not think they go back to it. And I could be wrong. I would like to be wrong. I think Sheamus is the guy to beat Braun Breaker. I honestly just don't see it. Because why the fuck would they have him lose 3 times? And then, I guess they could. I don't know. It gives me Chad Gable vibes, where Chad Gable lost so many times. You're like, well, he's got to beat Gunther eventually. Yeah, well, he didn't. I'm still waiting for that. So, Sheamus will win the title at some point. I just don't know if it's going to be at WrestleMania necessarily. This is a random pick, but what if they, people have asked me about this, but I'll ask you. What about John Cena? Do you think John Cena could be the Intercontinental Champion at some point this year?
He could. I think the story's kind of more towards him winning a world title, but it's a possibility. I mean, depending on how full time or how many appearances he's going to make. We haven't really seen him a lot. I think he said he's going to make around 30 appearances, so maybe they're just backloading it. But it's a possibility. I don't know if I want to see Braun Breaker lose to John Cena right now, but if it makes sense, I'm always game for it.
It depends on the story. I don't think he's going to go on to have an IC title open, U.S. title open type thing like from 10 years ago, but just to see him with a championship that he's never won before would be cool. John had mentioned that he's watching that dark match movie that Jericho's in. I did see the preview for that. It looks fucking awful. I mean, maybe it's decent. I don't know, but you have to let me know how that is. Anything is better than the current shit he's doing in AEW. I'll tell you that much. And then Richie also said about the Jey Uso thing. He had said 2 power bombs to the quickest go home for a match I've ever seen. Took the win right out of the sales from the main event. Overall fun show, flew by fast. Yeah, no, I like the overall show. I just think they have to do a better job of giving more meaningful stuff. And Steven Chambers, thank you for joining us. It said, is it just me or Saturday night's main event like watching AEW Battle of the Belts? Is it too soon to say that, Mr. Marceau, or are we quickly approaching that territory?
We're approaching the territory. I won't go there that bad. I mean, they have their main fights, like the Ring of Honor title. It's like things that no one even cares about. So I mean, we're not there yet, but I mean, like I said, if we keep just getting like basically a house show on TV, there's nothing must see, and all like I said, the thing that I think that annoys the fuck out of me the most, like the heels just beat people clean as a sheet, like no cheating, they just straight up just bury these people. So they do need to work on that, but I mean, at this point, it ain't looking great.
Steven also said, guessing triple threat with Braun, Sheamus, and Jey. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You just got to tell a good story there. I just feel like Sheamus and Jey have no issue at all. I don't know. There's just nothing there between the two. I mean, they both want the belt, so I guess that's the story, but you would have to heat it up ahead of time. Richie also said Jey to me is like in a good spot, similar to Jeff Hardy, where he's, despite losing, he's still over and can fit anywhere on the card, and no one really questions it, if that makes sense. Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely like the modern day Jeff to a pretty big degree. I could still see Jeff even in 08 having a longer run than Jey Uso does. I mean, Jeff was never a great mic guy either, but if Jey can continue to evolve that part of his game, like on the promos and stuff, then I could see him as a main eventer down the road. Ooh, I forgot about this. Daniel, I'll go back to your comment in a second, but John had brought up Penta could beat Braun Breaker. That was teased. I know it was teased on Raw, but we didn't see it because it was teased during the international broadcast of the fucking show. I saw it on Twitter. I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't they air this? But anyway, Penta and Braun Breaker, how about that at WrestleMania?
I think that's a good match. I mean, totally different styles, but I mean, if you're gonna push Penta, I mean, that's a good spot for him.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a great way to get Penta, or not get him rolling, but keep him rolling. I feel like that'd be cool. The Jey Uso celeb spots are always funny because they look like they just met Jey 5 minutes before. Hey, I'm sure they did, and I'm sure they're fast friends. Jey seems like a very likable person. Yeah, all right. So that was Saturday night's main event from last week. Let's get into the Royal Rumble here, Mr. Marceau. We only have a 4-match card. I'll ask you this: are you a fan of the 4-match card for the Royal Rumble? Because the Rumble matches go long. I think that probably makes the most sense. But what are your thoughts on the shorter card?
I feel like it's always kind of been on the shorter side. I think obviously now that we have the 2 Rumbles, it definitely kind of cuts the card down just because we have like 2-hour matches. So I don't mind it. I think it's nice. I feel like sometimes like with the 2 big matches, the WWE title can kind of like steal the show in a match standpoint just because there's only one other match on the card. But I think it's nice to have only a couple matches. No need. All the other people are in these Rumble matches, so no need to just throw random matches on there. So especially with the tag team guys, they probably won't be in the Rumble, so this is their spot to kind of shine. And then obviously Cody and Kevin aren't going to be in that match either. So I like the smaller card and no issues on my end.
Yeah, they're 2 gimmick matches as well. We have a ladder match, a 2 out of 3 falls match, 2 matches that make sense. They don't feel forced. We're finally getting the fucking tag titles defended on a WWE PLE. I thought I was seeing things when they announced that last week on SmackDown, so I was happy to see that. Nathaniel said would love to see Cope and Christian Cage win the tag titles this year at some point. It's possible. Definitely something AEW could do. But the WWE Tag Team titles will be on the line on Saturday in a 2 out of 3 falls match. DIY, Motor City Machine Guns. Should be a great match, honestly. I think if they give these 2 teams time, it could be really good. DIY just beat Motor City Machine Guns to win the belt back in December. Do they lose them this quickly? I'm going to say yes for the sole reason. I don't know what the fuck the Profits are doing, but I think the Profits would probably chase DIY. I would love to see the Machine Guns get the belt back, but I just feel like in terms of the division and the opponents that DIY could face, it's probably them retaining here. But who do you got, Mr. Marceau? DIY or Motor City Machine Guns?
I got DIY. You kind of highlighted that. They just won the belts from Motor City Machine Guns earlier, about a month ago. So I would keep the belts on them. Kind of get some more momentum. Like I said, the Profits should be the ones that DIY probably lose the belts to down the line. So I'd keep the belts on DIY and have them lose to the Profits coming up.
Yeah, whether it be a Mania or before that or another multi-team match, if they can make it make sense, I'd be totally down for that. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens in a ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship that they set up at Saturday Night's Main Event with the contract signing. I don't know what the fucking addendum was. A couple people had reached out to me when I had said it's stupid that they didn't, explain what the addendum was. At the show, a couple people reached out and said, well, they still have SmackDown. They're probably waiting until Friday. And I said, why the fuck would they wait until Friday when they have a lesser audience than they do for Saturday Night's Main Event where you have Shawn Michaels there? What's the point of even doing the contract signing on that show if you're not going to do the addendum announcement? I don't know. At this point, I'm just convinced there is no addendum. There is no change to the match. They just said that for some reason. Whatever. I don't really think anyone and their mother thinks that Kevin Owens is winning the championship on the show. I love Kevin Owens. I think he should have won. At Saturday Night's Main Event, I had told you at the time I would have given him a short run through the Rumble. We missed that fucking window. I don't think Kevin Owens wins here to defend against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania or Randy Orton. Those matches can happen. They don't need the belt. They won't have the belts. I think Cody Rhodes is a slam dunk winner here through and through. But what do you think, Mr. Marceau? Any chance KO walks away with the title on Saturday?
I would say very small, probably 0% chance Kevin Owens wins here. I do like KO. I like what they've done with him. I mean, his story arc, even though he's a heel, he has a point and it makes sense. I think, like you said, he should have probably got a win over Cody at Royal Rumble, or at Saturday Night's Main Event, but he didn't. And I don't see them taking the belt off Cody now prior to Mania. I think it'll be a great match, but I got Cody Rhodes winning.
Does Sami Zayn get involved?
I'll say no.
No, okay. I think he could, and I'm going to say he will, but he doesn't help Kevin Owens, obviously. I think he just tips over the ladder when Kevin Owens goes to do, I don't know. I feel like his interference will backfire or some shit. I feel like he should get involved, and then Owens can take him out of the Rumble later on, or be in the Rumble, take him out, whatever. John had said the only reason Penta beating Braun makes sense is that they got to do something with Penta until Phoenix is free from Tony Khan. Yeah, I mean, there's other ways they could use Penta. He doesn't have to win the IC title, but yeah, that would be one way to keep him going. He also said he sees Motor City Machine Guns retaining, Cody retaining, obviously. He said Cena, Punk, or Logan Paul winning the men's Rumble, and for the women, Charlotte or Io. That's a lot of options there, John. You're not decisive in your predictions. I like those picks. They're not bad picks for the most part, but we gotta dwindle it down here to single individual winners. So let's start here, Mr. Marceau. Women's Rumble. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who wins? Who wins the Women's Rumble this year?
The men's or the women's?
Women's. Did I say men's? I'm sorry. I meant to say women's.
Fuck. I hate when I get put on the spot. I'm
going to do it again for the men's.
Tough, I feel like yeah, I know. This happens every time. I should be used to it by now. It's a tough one. I feel like people are buzzing on Bianca, but I don't feel it. I just don't. I feel like they're going in a different direction with her. I'm going with Io Sky. I just feel like she's a Triple H girl, and I feel like her losing to Lyra was kind of just keep her on the back burner to face Rhea. They've been teasing it. Io's great, and I like Bianca a lot, but I don't know. I feel like they're going with her. Naomi, Jade, seems like that's probably the direction they're going with her. Charlotte, no, thank you. We can get to her and Tiffany without winning the Rumble. Yeah. Beat Becky. I love Becky to death, but I don't want her to win the Rumble. Liv, no, because I don't want to see her and Rhea again. So I'm going with Io Sky. I feel like that makes the most sense, and they love Io, and I love Io, so I'm going with Io.
I think Io is a great pick. Io is who I want to see win. I think Io and Rhea at Mania would be great. On the Bianca front, now Fightful did report that there's always discussions about any number of matches, obviously. But they ran a report about a week ago saying that there's been discussions of Rhea and Bianca at Mania. Now, I know you said Bianca was wrapped up in the Jade and Naomi thing, and she is, but I mean, if they lose the tag title soon, and Naomi goes on to face Jade, if Naomi was the one who attacked Jade, that Naomi and Jade could be a one-on-one thing, and Bianca can go on to do her own thing with Rhea. They really want to do that match. They've teased it for Mania like at least twice, and it hasn't happened yet. I could see Bianca being a dark horse. I'm not going to say Io wins. I'm going with Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to win. She absolutely does not need to. I completely agree. She could win the Chamber. She last won it 5 years ago, and this will be her first match back in over a year since we were there at not Saturday Night's Main Event, fucking Tribute to the Troops back in 2023. I think they're going to give it to Charlotte. I would rather see Charlotte win than Becky. At least Charlotte and Tiffany's a match I want to see. Becky and Io, or Becky and Rhea again, I have no desire to say. So I don't know about that, but Io I think is a great choice. John had said Cena and Io for his single picks. Richie had also mentioned Randy Orton interference with the conflicted Sami Zayn question mark. Maybe Randy Orton tips the ladder with Kevin on it as Sami hesitates. I could totally see it. It would give Orton Kevin something to do. I agree. Richie also said his picks are Cena, or Punk rather, and Io. I don't see Cena winning this Saturday despite the betting odds. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the most unpredictable Rumble in a while, right? When was the last Rumble that we had, Mr. Marceau, that you would say like you were genuinely stumped as to who could win this whole thing, from the men and the women?
It's been a while. I mean, before we talked, I was just looking at it, and like I said, I feel like there are people that could win, but I feel like there's multiple people, and they make sense, and it depends on certain directions. So it is. I think this is probably the toughest year. Like I said, there are some people that are favored more than others, but I feel like there's so many directions they can go in that makes it so makes it unpredictable enough that like you could, for the women. I mean, we just discussed 4 or 5 people that could win. I feel like we discussed the men coming up here too. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 people you could say could win the match. So, I mean, I think predictability not is always a bad thing, but with the amount of unpredictability and how stacked the men and the women's match will be this Saturday, I mean, I think it just raised the stakes more to just how must see it will be.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a very must-see match, especially with the star power involved, especially on the men's side. And they're doing a good job of making it feel unpredictable, even with the women as well. Who would be your final 4 then? Because I would say probably Io, definitely, whether she wins or not. Io, Charlotte, Bianca, and I'll throw in Jordan Grace. Oh, wait, Mr. Marceau said he lost my audio. Give me 1 sec. The call is still going. 1 moment. Mr. Marceau, can you hear me? Give me 1 sec. I think he might not. Oh, hold on. He might still have lost me. Give me 1 sec. Transfer to phone. Using Bluetooth here, so my audio is messed up. Let's see. Oh, 1 sec. I can hear you on the phone. There we go. Can you hear me now? Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now, Mr. Marceau?
Hello?
There we go. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Transfer. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Damn. I wonder why it's not working. Let me see. Give me a sec.
I can hear you now.
There we go. This one's on my phone. We're only in the women's rumble, so I won't even hook it up to my laptop. The audio will be a little off, but I'll leave it like this for now. I'll try to change it in a second. But who are your final 4 for the women's rumble? Io Sky, Bianca Belair for me, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, I'll say. Who would be your final 4 for the women's rumble?
Like I said, I think if you threw like a random in there, it could kind of like someone throw someone else out. But I'll go with those 4. That sounds great.
Okay. Regardless of who wins, I think that's a solid final 4, a stacked final 4 there. I think there's a possibility that we could see a whole bunch of other people in the match. I'll get to the surprises in a second as far as who we could say. But let's get to the men's rumble. Who wins the men's rumble? I'm going to put you on the spot again. Who wins the men's rumble on Saturday?
Many people I can see winning that like don't even win. Like, Cena, I really don't want Cena to win. I don't think he really needs to win. I don't think he should win. I really don't want to see him and Cody. I don't want to see him and Gunther at this point. So I'm out on Cena. Punk, I guess, but, like, I don't know. I feel like we're still going to get him and Rollins, so I'm not going to say him. But then after them two, it's like, who could win? Like, Roman doesn't make any sense to win. He's not going to face Gunther. He's not going to face Cody again.
Yeah.
So then you would say no to him. People say Logan Paul.
He's a contender, dude. He could definitely face Gunther at WrestleMania.
He could, but, like, I feel like if that ended the Royal Rumble, people would be fucking pissed. I feel like it wouldn't be great. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to the point extent, like, I feel like he could, but, like, I don't think he needs to win the Rumble. I feel like whoever's winning the Rumble should be the one facing Cody, so him winning the Rumble will beat, like, Gunther, no. No to The Rock. I mean, I do not want The Rock to win. I don't want The Rock to be in it. He's been flip-flopping, no thank you. But like I said, after all those people, like, who else could possibly win? So, like, the problem is, like, there's plenty of people that could win it. There's plenty of people I don't even want to win it. But gun to head, I guess I'd take Punk. I don't really want to see that happen. I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to. I don't love the idea. My heart says, like, Roman. I'd rather Roman win than him, but I just don't see him winning. So that's kind of just. I'll go with Punk. I'll go with Punk. It hurts to say that.
It could be worse, to be fair.
It could be worse, but like I said, I don't know. Like, I don't see him. The thing is, like I said, like, I don't see him facing Cody, so like, because he can face Gunther. I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, so we could have a title change before Mania.
We could, but like I said, I don't see Cody losing the belt. So
yeah.
Or I guess like who's Punk? I guess you could face Rollins on the belt somehow.
Yeah.
I'll go with Punk. Like I said, Jey Uso would be my dark horse. Maybe Sammy. I don't think Sammy won. I think Kevin will screw him. But I'll go with Punk. And my dark horse is like Jey Uso.
Yeah, I think Jay's up there.
And I think like Jacob's spot to be the one that eliminates most people.
Yeah, I was going to say that was my other prediction or my other question: who eliminates the most amount of people? I'm going with John Cena. I feel like that's the safe pick. I don't want Cena.
Picks suck, just like, you know.
My picks?
Yeah, Charlotte and God, I'm gonna have to rip my TV off the wall if both those happen.
Those are two terrible outcomes. The Cena one wouldn't be awful. It's just I could see it. I just don't want to see it because there's a lot of talk of him facing, a world champion Mania, probably Cody Rhodes. I don't really want to see Cena and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. That's more of a SummerSlam match, in my opinion. I'd rather see Orton come back and go after Cody. There's a million different directions they can go in, and they haven't really spoiled anything yet, so I like the unpredictability, but I don't know. I'm going to go safe and say Cena. I feel like I'd get a great reaction, but you and I would not be thrilled. I get why they would do it. I'm just not super enamored by that. Clay had said, I can't wait for this weekend. I agree. I'm looking forward to that. John had said, after Heyman, he also had to take off. So thank you for joining us, John. But he did say earlier in the chat, after Heyman did the one behind the one line on Raw, I fear Brock Lesnar could show up in the men's Rumble. I think we talked about this last week. I don't think that would happen, but do you think there's any chance that on Saturday, Mr. Marceau?
There's always a chance. I mean, I wouldn't bet my next check on it, but I mean, if they want like ridiculous star power in this Rumble, I mean, it's like even if The Rock was there, you have Rock, Brock, Roman, Cena, like Punk. I mean, you'd have fucking Roman. I think I said Roman Reigns. I hope. I mean, Logan Paul. I mean, they would have so many James. Like they'd really probably one of the stacked, if not the most stacked Rumble. Well, like they'd have so many top guys. It'd be crazy. I don't see it happening, but I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible. I think I don't know if they want to face the backlash of Rock coming back at this point with the Janelle Grant stuff, not being fresh per se, but it's still active and ongoing. I don't know if they want to deal with the headache for those. I mean, they're definitely going to get asked about it in like the press conference and shit. So why even do that unless it's something super significant? It would get a great reaction. I just don't know the aftermath would be all that positive. And I wouldn't want that to overshadow personally whoever would have won the Rumble or the Rumble match itself or whatever. Millennial Nubid said, I got Io Sky winning because it makes sense, but Charlotte Flair is winning. They want to embrace the Flair family name. The only other wrestler to embrace the family name is Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I had seen that report about Charlotte coming back, and they said that she's probably going to get a title run during her return run, Mr. Marceau. Get number 15 or 16 ready for Charlotte Flair because you know what's happening.
I mean, I already know what's happening. Like I said, I think she.
I agree. Richie had said, screw it, Tonga Loa comes back early from injury, wins the Rumble, chooses to face Roman for the Ulafala instead of the WWE title, and they can introduce the Tribal Championship. I'm still bummed we didn't get that Tribal title. I feel like that would have been amazing. That's such a great idea. Tribal Championship, so bummed we didn't get that.
Yeah, Tonga Loa, it's going to be a no for me, dog.
Randy Jackson over here. Yeah, so as far as surprises, let's start with the women here. So I compiled a list of people. I'm not saying these are all women that are going to be in it. This would be half the fucking match. But I'm going to give you a name, and I want to get a yay or a nay, or if it's somewhere in between, that's fine. As far as if you would want to see them in it or whether you could see them in it, okay? AJ Lee.
Yay.
Asuka.
Yay.
Alexa Bliss.
Yay.
Becky Lynch, of course.
Yeah.
Eve Torres?
Yeah.
All right. What about Layla?
Yeah.
Oh?
Okay.
I never knew you were a Layla fan. That's surprising. Did we get a spot with her and Michelle McCool?
I hope I'm sure.
Listen, dude, Brooke Tessmacher improved a lot in TNA. I wouldn't complain. Hey, Richie said Santina, yay or nay? She was in the Rumble, or she, whatever, was in the Rumble a couple of years ago, so it's happened. Roxanne Perez, who was in it the last 2 years.
Double yay.
Double yay, especially if she eliminates Bayley.
Yeah, I'm down.
Definitely. What about Cora Jade?
Yeah.
Nay? Why nay? I thought you were a Cora Jade guy.
I do, but I mean, she's on.
Okay. Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah.
Yay, but you would rather see who? Julia? Mm-hmm. So from NXT, I have Sol Ruka and Kalani Jordan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they could probably do something athletic, do something cool, whatever. Masha Slamovich from TNA, the TNA Knockouts champ. Yeah, that makes sense. And then obviously Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would make sense. So now for the men's, these are way more. I forget Nikki. Well, maybe I was trying to forget Nikki Bella. Maybe that's the problem. All right, give me one sec. Give me one sec. As Richie said, you were cutting out. This is on my phone. Let me see one more time if I can get you my laptop. 1 second. Let's see here. Can you hear me now? Damn, it's not coming through. All right, give me one moment. Nah, it didn't work on my laptop. It's fine. We'll finish up here, and then I'll try to figure it out for next time. No, it's definitely important. But is Nikki Bella, yay or nay? I don't know if that's happening. No, I would love to see Layla. Richie actually said you don't want to hear Brie mode. I know you would. I would fucking jump off the balcony. No thanks. Dylan said we'll get to the men's one in a second, but Dylan said Roxanne, Jordan Grace, Tessa Blanchard. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, not right now. I said this last week. I say nay for now. Ultimately, probably yay down the road. Now, no, but We'll see. He said AJ Lee, Becky for Women's Rumble. And then for the men, which I'll get to in a second, but he said for these, Joe Hendry, Trick Williams, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy. So, I mean, those are, we'll get to them. I'll talk about those. I'll actually ask you about all of those, so I'll get your yay or nay in a second. Richie also said, Maven return, question mark, if only for the theme song?
Hey, yeah.
Huh. Dude, Maven would be fucking cool for the sole fact of just hearing that music again. Hashtag book it. All right, so here's for the men, and some of these are ones that Dylan mentioned as well. Yay or nay, Aleister Black. Nay, okay, wow, okay. But if he was free,
No.
still no. Okay, all right.
Still no.
Ken Shamrock.
No.
We're gonna get more no's here for the men than we did for the women. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, no, the mic isn't coming completely through. That's because I have my phone up to the laptop, guys. It's not working, so I apologize. But he did say nay to Ken Shamrock. What about Big E?
Nay.
Nay on Big E. Nay because you don't want to see it, or nay because you don't think it's going to happen?
He's clear, so I'm going to say nay.
Okay. Randy Orton. Nay for Orton. AJ Styles. Yeah, I did say Ken Shamrock, Richie, because there's talk of him. I'm not talk of him going into the Hall of Fame, but I could totally see him. Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah.
Nay, you're crushing my fucking hopes. You're on almost every one of these people. Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The Hardys, or at least specifically Jeff. Broken Matt. Mr. Kennedy. Yeah. There's no rumor there, by the way. I just want to see that. So that would be our fucking Hurricane from 2018 when we win. Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder.
Please no.
Richie said James Ellsworth, yay or nay? Yay on James Ellsworth, but no on the rest of these guys? And then last but not least, Mick Foley.
No.
Come on, he lost 100. He lost 100 pounds.
I'm out of cactus. No one.
Yeah, the Maven Undertaker spot would be great. Richie had said I didn't even think of that before you brought up doing that spot again. That'd be fucking awesome. And then last question for you, Mr. Marceau. What's a go-to Rumble that people should check out? What Rumble would you recommend that people watch before this weekend?
Great question. I want to go with 3 because that's the first one I watched live.
Good Rumble.
I mean, Orange actually, that's open no childhood, but obviously the band we cannot name won that one, so it's kind of another one. But as a kid, that one was always a big one for me. I think I was like 10 years old, so it kind of just pops in my memory. I think what else? Cena one, what's that? 2000, when he came back was 2000.
Oh wait, we watched that one last night actually.
Good one.
Yeah.
I love the 06 with Rey Mysterio, and it adds a match itself pretty bad. Rey's like laying in the corner the entire time, but
yeah.
As a kid and just nostalgia, that one always comes back. 2011's fucking terrible. I was there for it.
Wow.
The real one, they almost jumped from the rafters.
Come on.
Yeah, I would say 03 and 06 are my 2 favorites, but that's just the personal
attachment.
Personal factor into both of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. The nostalgia factor. I like the 08 one. I used to love 2011. I used to fucking love that show and envy that you were there for it. But now thinking in retrospect, 40-man Rumble and fucking like Primo Epico coming out, there was a lot of filler in that Rumble for sure. Ricardo, you wouldn't want to see Ricardo Rodriguez or Alberto Del Rio back in the Rumble this year? Come on. You'd rather have El Torito in the Rumble than Alberto Del Rio. No, I'm just kidding. I would completely agree with that. Fuck that guy, by the way. Del Rio, not El Torito. He seems like a fine guy. Um, yeah, I think that's it. Dylan, you Dylan said my favorite Rumble. Talking about him, he said his favorite Rumble is the 2015 Rumble. The best part is when Bray and gets Bryan get thrown out and Roman ends up winning it. Wasn't that your favorite Rumble too? What a dick. No, that was 31, yeah. Was that the year where Big Show, Kane, and Undertaker? Yes, it was. Where it was Kane and it was Roman and it was Big Show and Roman threw them all out and Russo. He loves the 2015 Rumble and like you haven't even seen it since it happened. Wow. I mean, come on, go back and watch it before Friday. We'll definitely get you in the Rumble mood because at least we'll send the message. You will never see a Rumble worse than that one. Definitely watch it and let me know how bad it is. I have not seen it in a while. Alexa said that she agrees with you, and 2020 is a goat rumble. She had said that is a great rumble. Mr. Marceau and we watched it back last night, but Mr. Marceau and I were at the 2018 rumble. I would say that was also one of the better ones in the last 5-10 years. Stephanie really should have come out on 30 and won the whole thing, but that's besides that's besides the point. Still a great rumble, and hopefully this weekend will be good. But hey, listen, if not, even if it's shit, we'll talk all about it here on the show next week. So, Mr. Marceau, brother, thanks so much for coming on. I know this was a late time compared to when we normally talk. I appreciate making the time, brother.
No problem.
And hopefully next time I'll get you on my phone and it won't keep cutting out every fucking 2 seconds. Enjoy the rumble, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Peace, pal. All right. That's going to do it, guys, for WrestleRant Radio here today for January 30th. I apologize for the audio issues. That's entirely on my end. That's not RJ's fault. I will try to fix that for next week because sometimes it connects to my desktop audio and then it fucking cuts out. We'll figure it out for next week, I promise. I said that every week, but hopefully next week it works. And my mic quality will be better as well. This week I don't have my mic with me. I couldn't fit it in my luggage because typically it was going to make it heavier. That was a call on Alexis's part, and I think that was a wise one, so it didn't break. Richie said, I really enjoyed the 2024 Women's Rumble as well, although Bayley winning to me was meh. I loved Bayley winning, and the Women's Rumble was great last year. Definitely the best Women's Rumble they've ever done. And Richie also said, no 3-hour stream, question mark? Yeah, no 3-hour stream. I'm winding down now. I got some other stuff I got to do and just relax before tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. I got a lot of stuff I got to do and a lot of content to cover. And I got to catch up on sleep, too. I'm pretty fucking tired. Alexis can attest this because she drove us to that drove me to the airport today. But you only slept for 4 hours, 3.5 hours. It was a tight window of sleep. So I do got to catch up on that. But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. Thankfully, the Wi-Fi held up here in the hotel. So I appreciate the hotel Wi-Fi for that. Yeah, that's really about it. So stay tuned here to the channel for more content coming this weekend. Be sure to hit the bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up and just streams in general, whether they be first thing in the morning, mid-morning, afternoon, night, whatever. The times of these streams always vary, so be sure to hit that bell button to be notified every time we do go live. And the next time we will be live will probably be next Tuesday for hashtag Ask GSM. No SmackDown review on Saturday. I'll probably be at SmackDown tomorrow. Fingers crossed, hopefully. We'll see. That's not confirmed yet, but I'll be busy with other commitments and stuff on Saturday, so I will not be around to talk about SmackDown. So we'll be back on Tuesday live anyway to answer some questions here in the chat. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Richie said, go to bed. Yeah, go to bed. Yeah, I got up at 3:30, and the funny thing is, I probably should have done the responsible thing by going to bed sooner and, getting at least a little bit more sleep. We didn't get an hour of sleep, but, I stayed up watching Rumbles and shit. I was up watching the '08 Rumble, 2018 Rumble. Alexis watched most of both of those with me, so It is what it is. That's Rumble weekend for you. And Richie also said I'll be there for the next stream while on the clock. Well, I appreciate that, Richie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always, chatting in as always. We'll catch you right back here on the stream coming up. Very likely, I think it's going to be, what would that be? Next Tuesday, like I said. I don't even know the days of the week at this point. Have an awesome, folks. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.
Join Graham GSM Matthews and RJ Marceau every Thursday as they run down their weekly wrestling rants, offer expert analysis, host exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe today on all your favorite podcast platforms and never miss an episode of WrestleRant Radio.